Robert's unwoke. TV's Robert's unwoke. He's unwoke.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Doyle here, welcoming all you friends of the feather to another season of Indians baseball. A lot of new faces in Chief Wahoo's tribe this year as they take on the defending American League champs, the New York Yankees. And hopefully we'll have some of the names that go with those faces before their first at-bat.
The local press seems to think we'd save everyone a lot of time and trouble if we just went out and shot ourselves.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his major league debut. Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Jobu, ayúdame en este momento para que me des el poder para conquistar el cuerpo. Te daré mi devoción para siempre poderoso.
Wouldn't leave a rum sitting around out here with this group.
He's very bad to steal Jobu's rum. He's very bad.
Up your butt, Jobu.
Well, everybody, Jobu is pissed. He is flat out outraged. Welcome to it. I am TV's Robin. This is TV's Robin's Unwoke. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to this lovely episode of this lovely podcast where everything is unwoke. The social justice warrior, the PC culture gets mocked, ridiculed, and shown for what it is. Ridiculous. And this episode is going to focus a lot on the sports world because as much as a lot of us love sports, we love the competition, we love the game, we love the camaraderie. It harkens back to our childhood when many of us played sports, and it's ingrained in our culture, right? And for many people, sports is a form of escapism. Your job sucks, you got the bills piling up, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that, you've got all this real world responsibility and all these obligations, and sometimes you just want to unwind, relax, and enjoy something, right? And that's what sports typically represents. It represents that ability to unwind and get away from it all. Well, not anymore. And it's been like that for years. And it has claimed its latest victim. That's right. Now, at the beginning of the show, you heard clips from one of my favorite movies of all time. All genres. That is one of my favorite movies. It is one of the most quotable movies. I could almost recite it word for word at any given time. Major League. The movie that focuses on the Cleveland Indians. Well, not anymore. No. Not anymore. Chief Wahoo has already been retired. The team announced last year that they were going to be changing their name. I kind of figured they would become the Cleveland baseball team, much like the Redskins became the Washington football team. Well, they decided to get a little bit more creative than that. And they have announced their new name. The Cleveland Indians are now the Cleveland Guardians. I don't know exactly what they are guarding, but maybe they're protecting the city from a World Series title. Maybe they're guarding the city from attendance. Maybe they're guarding the city from economic rewards of having a successful sports franchise. Maybe that's what they're guarding against. I don't know. I don't understand where this name comes from at all.
Yes, sir. They love this club here in Cleveland.
But in true social justice, virtue signaling, and woke style, the team announced their new name the only way that you really can make any type of announcement now. They took to social media. Oh, that's right. They took to Twitter, and they put together this dramatic video featuring the wokest of the woke, the virtuous of the signaling. The new Cleveland Guardians recruited the one, the only, Tom Hanks, to narrate this dramatic announcement with music accompaniment from the Black Keys? Really? That doesn't make much sense to me, but whatever. Check this out.
We are a city on the rise, forging into the future from our ironed-out past. We are a city of fire and water, of trees and towers, built through generations of blue collars and the brightest scholars, and all of those who have worked harder. We hold tight to our roots and set our sights on tomorrow. And this is our team that has stood with our city for more than a century, from Old Municipal to the corner of Carnegie. A team that has seen its own progress and prosperity. Its history flows like the river through the heart of this city. A history that has given us miraculous moments. Moments that spanned years and others 22 games. Moments that broke barriers and moments that broke hearts. Moments that prove this is more than a game. We remember those moments as we move forward with change. You see, it has always been Cleveland that's the best part of our name. And now it's time to unite as one family, one community, to build the next era for this team and this city, to keep watch and guard what makes this game the greatest, to come together and welcome all who want to join us. We are loyal and proud and resilient. We protect what we've earned and always defend it. Together we stand with all who understand what it means to be born and built from the land. Because this is the city we love and the game we believe in. And together, we are all Cleveland Guardians.
I mean, first of all, I've got to say this. The amount of compression they put on Tom Hanks's voice to give it that sound is ridiculous. I don't even think I can do that using my editing software. That is, wow, just overkill on compression to make him sound really ballsy. But at the same time, I have to ask, I played this clip for my wife, Nikki, and she had one thought, and one thought only initially, which was, what the hell happened to his voice? That's like old man voice. And I'm thinking, well, you know, Tom Hanks isn't exactly a spring chicken, but she's right. There is something wrong with that man's voice. Now, is that the post-COVID voice? Is that the post-vaccine voice? What is going on with Tom Hanks's voice? As Jerry Seinfeld would say, what is the deal with Tom Hanks's voice?
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Now, in this clip, they didn't say when this name change is taking effect. In the tweet where they posted this video, it just says, together, we are all Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy. Are we going to have... So, instead of Chief Wahoo, are we going to have Star-Lord on the hats and helmets now? Is that what we're going to get? Are we going to have Rocket, Raccoon, maybe Groot? Oh, there you go. There's $1 million marketing idea right there for you, Cleveland. Put Groot as your new mascot. That would be wonderful. Let me tell you. People would be lining up for that shit. Now, the moniker Indians had come under criticism for being offensive to Native Americans. Was it? Is it? Have we had Native Americans coming out and saying, this is offensive, change your name? No, of course not. It's been the woke mob. It's been the social justice warrior who has to be offended on your behalf because you're too stupid to know when you're offended. So they have to fix everything. So they've gotten Cleveland. When will they get the Kansas City Chiefs? When will they get the Atlanta Braves? Keith Malinak, if I were you, I would be worried about your precious Braves. I mean, didn't they already eliminate the tomahawk chop? Their days are numbered, my friend. Be ready for it. I really hope that this name change takes effect like right now, because can you imagine the chaos involved with getting all the new uniforms made? What if the equipment manager forgets which one is which and he accidentally throws an Indians jersey in instead of a Guardians jersey? Oh, God, that would be hilarious. Now, it's amazing. The team announced last December that it would be changing to a new nickname. The Redskins announced this and have already played a full NFL season under the name the Washington Football Team, and yet they still haven't decided on a new name. What's taking them so long? What are they? Stupid? And of course, the lunacy and the PC woke mob doesn't stop there with just team names. Oh, no. There's a lot more going on. And I'm going to take a slight deep dive on some other things that are going on in the sports world with this woke mentality. And one last little note about the Cleveland Guardians story. Friday night I was watching WWE SmackDown, which just happened to be live from Cleveland. As some of you may know, most of you don't, I put together a wrestling podcast every week, or a wrestling adjacent podcast every week. So I kind of check out the programming from time to time. When one of the wrestlers was cutting a promo, he mentioned the Guardian name change for the Indians. The amount of boos from the crowd kind of told me exactly where the fans in Cleveland stand on that issue. There's an old expression, read the room. Obviously, Indians management did not do that. Interesting. Like that owner in Major League. Amazing. Fiction has become reality. Now, here's the thing I really wanted to get to on this episode of TV's Rob is Unwoke. The U.S. Women's National Soccer Team. I don't even know where to begin on this one. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive. Bear with me. It might be a lot to take in, but look, this is something that has really pissed me off. And I'm not talking the scoreboard from earlier this week where they lost to Sweden, snapping a 44-game unbeaten streak, obviously showing that they haven't learned anything since 2016. Nah, this has been a decline years in the making. And I gotta tell you, most of you don't know this, but I am a big soccer supporter. I grew up playing soccer. It was the only sport I took to, the only sport I had some natural talent in. Played it in high school. As an adult, I played minor league, semi-pro soccer. I've been a broadcaster for a professional soccer team. Traveled internationally to broadcast with said soccer team. Soccer has meant a lot to me throughout my life. I'm a big Manchester United fan. I have the Manchester United Red Devil tattooed on my body. I bleed red. And I know a lot of you will say, oh, soccer, it's a communist sport. Ha 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 ha. It might be. Okay, I'll give you that. It might be. But where most people worship at the feet of the NFL or Major League Baseball or whatever, my sports, soccer, and auto racing. And the women's national soccer team just irritate me to no end. Now, as I said, as a lifelong fan of the game, every 4 years, there's nothing I look forward to more than the World Cup. Now, of course, in my lifetime, I have not had a lot to cheer for on the men's side because, let's face it, our men's national soccer team sucks. And it will always suck. rules implemented by the U.S. Soccer Federation will doom us to mediocrity forever on the men's side. But on the women's side, I had something to cheer for. Consider this. The U.S. women's team hasn't finished lower than third in the 8 Women's World Cups that have been played since the competition was founded in 1991. They won the first World Cup in 1991. The game for women reached national heights in 1999 when Mia Hamm, Brandi Chastain, and others led the country to their second World Cup triumph. Chastain became a household name and was on the cover of Sports Illustrated after scoring what was the deciding goal in the final, stripping her jersey off and dropping to her knees in celebration. Now, I will say this. 16-year-old TV's Rob salutes you, Brandi Chastain, and thanks you. And another side note, I actually got to play in a media tournament at the MLS Cup on a team with Brandi Chastain and Alexi Lalas. I was in heaven, and I was the only member of the media who was able to hold my own and actually compete with them. I felt like a badass that day. Not gonna lie, that was a personal and professional highlight for me. But going back to the 1999 Women's World Cup team, the women on that team became beacons and idols for young girls across the country as something to aspire to. They carried themselves with class and grace. They weren't the best soccer players, but they were the best athletes and the best team. Now remember that word, team. They were humble, selfless, grounded. Mia Hamm was not the type to go looking for headlines and to make herself the story. Now the cameras gravitated to her, but that's not what she was about. She was about the game. Now, 20 plus years later, let's take a look. The U.S. women's team is anything but humble, selfless, and grounded. They're not. They're absolutely not. The seeds for what they would ultimately become were planted after the 2015 Women's World Cup, when after winning the tournament for an unprecedented third time, the women on the squad used their newfound fame and influence to tout the gender pay gap, which is total BS, and the LGBTQIA2 plus element OP WXYZ rights. And the biggest culprit? Megan Rapinoe, co-captain of the team. She joined Colin Kaepernick in his national anthem protest. But her agenda was slightly different than Colin's. Now, I have said this before in other forums, and some of you may know this, some of you may not. So I'll go ahead and just make my feelings on this plain and simple. While I agree with your right to protest the flag and the anthem, there is a time and place to do it. When you are being paid to do a job, that is not the time or the place, obviously. But when you are on a global stage representing your country, you do not disrespect your country with a selfish protest. When you're on the global stage, you are not playing for yourself. You are not playing for a club. You are playing for your country. You are supposed to present the best image of your country. Okay? Now remember that. In 2019, the U.S. women rushed back into the spotlight, touting the same lines: pay gap, LGBTQ rights, but this time with an added twist. Rapinoe had to spew anti-Trump hatred, saying she wouldn't go to the White House if they won the tournament. And that's where the spiral really started to pick up momentum. And that's where we really started falling. And Rapinoe would become the darling of the left and the media, who loved to criticize Trump, as well as the country at large. And Rapinoe gave them plenty of sound bites along the way. Her teammates didn't help, they only fanned the flames. Anybody who stood against her was immediately ostracized and basically demoted to riding the bench. This group of women didn't care that they were representing a country with a wide range of people with opinions and feelings of their own. They merely wanted to shove their agenda as far down our collective throats as they could. They knew if they didn't strike now, within a month, no one would remember who they are. And this is true. Most people don't remember who any of the other players on the national women's team are. I can name a handful for obvious reasons. What they ended up doing in 2019 was winning a trophy, but losing half of a nation. I watched a pair of matches, listened to another on the radio, but before they even got out of the group stage, I couldn't watch or listen anymore. Every interview, every post-game mention turned into criticism of the country that allows them to play a game for a living. I was being made to feel that because I do not agree with their condemnation of the country or the president at the time, that somehow I'm the hate-mongering asshole who mongers in hate. I'm now a racist, bigoted, homophobe who embodies everything that is wrong with our country. In their eyes. Now, I mentioned that pay gap, right? In 2015, when the pay gap between the men's and women's national team was brought up, initially I was all for paying the women just as much as the men. My reasoning was simple. The women had just won their 3rd World Cup, and the men, shortly after that tournament, would fail to qualify for their own World Cup. The women were winning, the men weren't, plain and simple. Reward winners. But in 2019, when that argument came up again, I did some digging, read some stories, got some perspective, if you will. I learned that the women are actually paid differently than the men. And while the dollar amount may vary, when looked at in context, they're actually paid a higher percentage than the men. What they do, they receive a set salary and receive benefits. So they play that long game. The men, on the other hand, receive a smaller percentage of the overall money pile. And instead of earning a set salary, they negotiated in their collective bargaining agreement an incentive-laden deal that pays based on hitting certain objectives. If the women really want to fix this gender pay gap, here's an idea. Negotiate a better deal with U.S. Soccer. Get rid of the minimum salaries. Get rid of the insurance. Get rid of the benefits. And get paid based on wins. Get paid based on sponsorships. You know, incentivize the hell out of your contract. You'd make a lot more money. The problem is you wanted to get paid up front rather than getting paid after you do the thing. And I get it. Women's soccer, you don't make as much money. So taking the guaranteed deal probably worked best for you. But you lose out because those extra things like benefits, those cost money. So they're coming out of your pocket one way or another. I want to pause for a second to talk about protein bars. We've all seen them, and we've most likely tried a few of them while trying to lose weight or just get healthier. But what's the biggest problem with all of them? Well, basically, they all taste like crap. They're hard to chew, they taste awful, and they don't provide any type of actual satisfaction. But I'm happy to say that I have found one out there that isn't anything like the rest, and that is Built Bar. Built Bar is healthier than all those other protein bars. They're low calorie, low sugar, high protein, high fiber. They're great for keto diet. Lose or maintain weight while indulging in a delicious treat. Each bar contains only 110, 160 calories, 16 to 20 grams of protein, and 3 to 5 net carbs. Enjoy the healthiest thing you'll do today. When you eat a Built Bar, you feel better about yourself because healthy has never been this delicious. Built Bars are a lot like a candy bar, but good for you. They have 18 different flavors, including some of my own personal favorites: cookies and cream, strawberry, peanut butter, and mint brownie. All of their bars are covered in 100% chocolate. So you're probably saying to yourself, TV's Rob, how do I get these? Where do I go? All you got to do, go to BuiltBar.com, use the promo code TVsRob to get 10% off your next order. Use promo code TVsRob for 10% off at BuiltBar.com. Trust me, you'll love them. I do. BuiltBar.com, promo code TVsRob.
He's on Woke.
Now I'm going to break it down with some numbers, all right? The total prize money for the Women's 2019 World Cup was $30 million, with the champion taking away about $4 million. The total for the Men's 2018 World Cup was $400 million, with the champions winning $38 million. Now that's all based on TV contracts, sponsorship dollars. So obviously the men are the breadwinners because the men still bring the eyeballs in. They still bring in the sponsorships. So I know that sounds terribly unfair for the women. However, you have to think about the viewership and revenue from the two events. FIFA raked in more than $6 billion. That's billion with a B from the 2018 Men's World Cup. The Women's 2019 World Cup made right around $130 million. $130 million, $6 billion. The numbers don't lie. So what happened after the 2019 World Cup? Have things improved? No, absolutely not. Oh God, no. No. This is a group of women that little girls should be idolizing and wanting to emulate. But I gotta tell you, if I had a daughter, I would be appalled and horrified if she started acting like them. At the Women's Victory Parade held in New York City, Rapinoe used foul language to make her point, told the country that we need to love more and hate less, though she spewed hatred at a faster pace than she could kick a ball. She was also filmed on social media drinking and holding the World Cup trophy, saying, "I deserve this." Really? You deserve this. The last I checked, soccer is a team sport. So what is it exactly you deserve? And Rapinoe, while talented, you have to be talented to make it to a national team, okay? One way or another. She's a selfish player who plays a role. Now, I will say, she's playing the wrong role. She's not a forward. She's better as a midfielder, okay? I used to coach. I can tell you this. Without the other 10 women on the field, she wouldn't be successful because she's just a cog in the machine. She's a part of the puzzle. That's it. She doesn't pick the team up and carry it. She has never been the leading goal scorer on the team, unless she's the only one out there. So I wouldn't want my kids to be emulating that type of behavior. In addition, at the ESPYs, the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team were honored and players won awards, and deservedly so. You go out, you win a world competition, you deserve some accolades, all right? I'm not going to take anything away from that. But Rapinoe couldn't even take the time to interact with a young fan asking for an autograph. She blew him off. She was filmed not recognizing the kid, looking at him, or even thanking him for his support. She also decided to show us a nip on national TV. Now, obviously, I'm not a female, and I don't wear women's clothing, but I'm pretty sure that nip slips are easy to avoid. Just don't wear a men's-styled sport coat without a top underneath. Put some boob tape or something on. I hear they make tape for situations like that. As a kid, when I played soccer, my coach is ingrained in me the entire time, all the way through. Show good sportsmanship. Carry ourselves with pride and to always recognize that we were part of a team. And while some players were better than others, had more talent, scored more goals, or blocked a lot of shots in goal, we were a collective unit. And if we didn't work together, we wouldn't have the success we worked hard for. So, where does she get off with this crap? And where does other players like Alex Morgan, who is making a big deal about not being able to take her kid to Tokyo because, breastfeeding mothers need to be able to feed their kids. Why are you even competing? If you're at that stage with your child, why are you even competing? You know, there's this concept called maternity leave or paternity leave. Why are you not taking advantage of that? Oh, because you want to be front and center. You want to be in front of the cameras. I get it. Oh, stupid me. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, now, have you guys digested all of that? I know it was a lot of information and went through it. It was a kind of a deeper dive, kind of intense. Got to catch my breath a little bit. I mean, that was intense stuff. But now let's turn our attention to 2021 and the Tokyo Olympics. 2021 has already been a shit show for the women's national soccer team. We have seen Rapinoe continue to put herself above the sport, put herself above the team. After it was announced that she has become part of Victoria's Secret VS Collective, the collective that will, take the place of the Victoria's Secret Angels. Yeah. Instead of looking at the likes of Miranda Kerr, I have to look at Megan Rapinoe. In the words of Jeff Fisher, how about no? So I wonder, how many training sessions did Rapinoe miss fighting for more inclusive lingerie? And if you missed my comments on the whole thing with the VS Collective, go back and listen to episode 7, because I break it down a little bit in there. But I'm going to focus on the Olympics. The U.S. women's team has a very unique opportunity in front of them. They have a chance to become the first team to win an Olympic gold after winning the last World Cup. Well, that quest may ultimately be over before it even got off the ground. Now, what happened? Now, the Olympics just held their opening ceremonies, but the soccer stuff started before the official opening ceremonies because they play a tournament, but I'll get into that. But in their opening match, okay, the number one team in the world riding a 44-game unbeaten streak. Now, that's not a 44-game winning streak, but an unbeaten streak, because you can have draws or ties in soccer, okay? Now, they were pitted against the team that has become their nemesis, Sweden. Now, you're thinking, why is Sweden their nemesis? Well, the Swedes are ranked 5th in the world, and they're also the team that bounced the U.S. team out of the Olympics in the quarterfinals in 2016. The earliest exit for the women's squad ever. Well, 2021 could be even worse for the U.S. women. After losing 3-0, that's 0, by the way, 3-0, in the opening match. Seriously? The team that bounced you out of the 2016 Olympics beat you again in what was supposed to be the 2020 Olympics? But, Kristen Press, who plays forward, thinks that the loss could be a sign of good things to come. She said, "We've had a long string of wins, and I think we haven't had a lot of games where we had to come back. I think it was actually really good to have this match. In 2008, we lost our first match, and the team won gold. So I think now we're seeing this as a learning opportunity. And the message is already, heads up, put it behind us, next game. There's no time in a tournament like this to dwell." It could be a good sign. Okay, all right, well. But what if it isn't? Let me give you a quick explanation of Olympic soccer. They play a tournament style. So the first round is what we call a group stage. The Americans are pitted with Sweden, Australia, and New Zealand. Now, to advance out of this group stage and into the knockout rounds, like the quarterfinals, semifinals, and of course the finals, the top 2 teams qualify. So in order for the U.S. to advance, they would need to win the rest of the group stage games and score as many goals as possible, because goal differential may become a thing as a tiebreaker. So they need to put points on the board and they need to win out. Now, do I think they'll advance? Probably. Will it be pretty? Absolutely not. But I wonder, what did the wonderful, brilliant Megan Rapinoe say after the loss? She said, "We got our asses kicked, didn't we? I thought we were a little tight, a little nervous, just doing dumb stuff. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating that it's Sweden. They found a lot of space on us. I don't even know how many goals we have given up this whole year. I don't remember the last time we gave up a goal. So to give up 3 is not great." Wow. From a team co-captain, that was deeply insightful. Now, when she said they found a lot of space on us, that sounds familiar. That's exactly what they did back in 2016. They found a lot of space. So in 5 years, you haven't learned how to, devise a strategy against that? So when she says we were doing dumb stuff, yeah, you're absolutely right, Megan. You were doing dumb stuff. You're doing Subway commercials. You're doing Victoria's Secret lingerie stuff. You're out there spreading lies, becoming a political influencer instead of focusing on your craft. Because I guarantee you, I would have figured that stuff out really quick, and the game strategy would have been a lot different if I knew what the team was going to do. Oh, that's because you're supposed to learn. That's what you do. But I love that she said dumb stuff. Now, of course, she only means what they did on the field, because we all know that she doesn't think anything else that she does is dumb. Now, the women just didn't play well at all. And of course, what are some of them blaming? COVID protocols affecting team training. COVID is the excuse for everything nowadays. But a group that has been together as long as they have should know how to play together. I'm sorry, you have that chemistry, plain and simple. The Swedes straight up outplayed the U.S. women. The U.S. women thought that they could just waltz in and they were going to win gold. Well, now that is in doubt. All because they can't pull their heads out of their collective asses and focus on what they should be doing. I mean, before the match even started, in an empty stadium, mind you, empty stadium, they took a knee to protest. If you have time for a selfish protest before the game, are you really focusing on the game? Short answer, no. No. That's all there is to it. The Swedes found openings and played a wide game just like they did in 2016. So the women obviously didn't learn anything. The problem here isn't what is happening on the field, because you lose sometimes. It's about what's happening off the field. That's going to do it for this week's edition of TV's Rob is Unwoke with me, TV's Rob. If you're listening to this and you're enjoying it, feel free to go on to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review with some comments, let other people find the show, help the show grow, okay? I'm doing this for you and for me, just to have some fun. It's cathartic. It's therapy with an unlicensed therapist. I'm not a doctor, but I did once stay in a Holiday Inn Express. If you want to get in on the action and make your mark on the show and make the show yours, go to anchor.fm/TV's Rob is Unwoke and leave a voice message. I'll play a selection of them in future episodes. Also, if you want to come on the show and talk about something that's really pissing you off or something that you really just want to talk about, it could be an issue that you have. It could be something you want to raise money for. It doesn't matter. If you want to come on the show, hit me up either at anchor.fm/TV's Rob is Unwoke or hit me up on Twitter at TV's Rob Official. We'll discuss whatever's on your mind, all right? Special thanks to my wife and producer, Nikki. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do this. You can follow her on Twitter at DFW Radio Girly. Girly is spelled Girlie. Give her a follow. She has to put up with me, and she usually posts some pretty funny stuff, in addition to posting news and weather and things like that nature as well. She helps keep you informed, and she'll help entertain you. How many people do that? Also, thank you to the executive producer of TV's Rob is Unwoke, the Derpy Cat Ryoga. You can follow him on Twitter as well, at Cat Ryoga. Don't ask me. I just work here. That's going to do it for me. I am TV's Rob, and this is TV's Rob is Unwoke. We'll talk to you next time.